What's going on YouTube? This is Ipsec, and today we'll be doing Instant from HackTheBox, which is a relatively straightforward machine that starts with downloading an Android application off a web server, and we can decompile that with Jadx. And the first thing I normally look for when decompiling an app are what endpoints it talks to. This reveals an API along with a Swagger interface, which is live documentation on how to interact with the API. Unfortunately, many of the endpoints require administrative access, so we look at the app and discover a hard-coded JWT, which provides us that access. The API has a file disclosure vulnerability, which we can use to read an SSH key that gets us onto the box. And once there, we discover a Solar-Putty configuration, which, doing some light Googling, we discover a way to crack this encryption on the configuration and obtain the root password. So with that being said, let's just jump in. As always, we're going to start off with an nmap. So -sc for default scripts, sv enumerate versions, -vv for double verbose. This gives us things like the TTL, OA output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it instant, and then the IP address of 10.10.11.37. This can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we have SSH on port 22, and the banner tells us it's an Ubuntu server. We also have HTTP on port 80. Its banner tells us it's Apache. It's directing us over to instant.htb. So let's go ahead and add that to the host file. So we'll do sudo v etc host. And then we can add 10.10.11.37 instant.htb. Save that. And the other odd thing I'm not seeing is when seeing Apache on Ubuntu servers, I'm used to it having like parentheses Ubuntu, and it doesn't here. Actually, wait a second. The server header is having it, so nmap's just not showing it. I don't know exactly what's going on there, but disregard that. So we don't really have much information to go on, so I'm just going to go to the website and see what we have. And we get a page, instantly send funds to anywhere. And it has a link that goes to downloads instant.apk. So let's go ahead and save that. So we'll move downloads instant apk to our working directory. And then I also want to go to that downloads directory. So we'll do /downloads and we get a 404 not found. I was hoping we'd have like an open directory index and we may have like other versions of the APK, maybe like instant.dev.apk, things like that. I may have also misremembered and maybe with /download and we get a different error message, which is interesting. So downloads and download. So I think download, this is probably coming from Apache, just because we see Apache 2458 here. And then downloads, this is just 404 not found. I'm guessing this is going to be like Python Flask or something like that, but it's interesting of the like URL rewriting that's going on because this is going to Apache. This obviously is going somewhere else because that looks like a error message from something. Let's actually go oxdf error message and search Google for that. Maybe I should add 404. There we go. Default 404 pages. I just want to see if that is anywhere. 404 not found. Is that what it looks like? 404 dash not found. There's a dash there, so it's not AIO HTTP. Not that. So I don't know exactly what this is. Maybe once we get a shell in the box, we can take a look. But since we have the APK, let's just go ahead and look at it. So the first thing I want to do is run Jadx against it because I want to see if I can decompile it. So let's make a directory called, I guess, out. And I'm going to do Jadx and -d. The odd thing with this is Jadx by default, I think will work out of the current directory the application sits in. So if I just did like out and then specified instant APK, it can't find it because it's looking in user share Jadx bin, right? So always use absolute paths when dealing with Jadx. It's a weird quirk. I don't know exactly why we have to, but you just have to, right? And that's why we always add the -d because by default, it's just going to put it in user share Jadx bin, and then we probably don't have write permission here if you installed it with apt. If you just did a git clone off Jadx or downloaded the release and copied it to somewhere where you have write access to, you may not have to do all of this, but if you use apt, always use absolute paths. So there we go. We have it now decompiled. If we open this up in VS Code, we can take a look at it. And the other thing I always like doing is looking for URLs in applications. So before we go here, I'm just going to do a quick grep. I'm going to grep for, let's do instant.htb. So we'll do a -R for recursive. And then look here. And we have quite a few. And right off the bat, we see Swagger UI Instant HTTP and My Wallet V1. So we have some host names. What I'm going to do is add a OI. So this is going to show me only things that match my search. And this is going to be case insensitive. I'm going to do .star like this. And let's see. We could also say A to B 07. And then special characters. There we go. Kind of just cleans up the output a little bit. So we have My Wallet V1 and Swagger. So let's take a look at these real quick. So sudo v etc host. And then we can add My Wallet. And then let's also add the Swagger one. So we'll copy this and paste it. And whenever I see Swagger, that's generally going to be exactly where I go to. So we can do HTTP, Swagger, because this is going to be documentation of the API. And we can see various endpoints. We require authentication to hit like add user, list user, things like that. If I do try it out, we execute, let's see, we get unauthorized. So we got to figure out exactly how this authenticates. We could potentially log in and register a user because this is not require authentication. However, there is an admin to create a admin user. So I'm guessing this won't work, but I guess we can try it out. Email, we'll do root@ipsec.rocks, password, pin, we'll do 1234, username, we'll do ipsec. We can execute this. And let's see. PIN must be 5 digits. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. We have registered a user. Now we can attempt to log in. So try it out. Password. Weird that that one's first, not username, but okay. IPsec password. Execute. We get logged in. We get a JWT. We can put the JWT on authorize. So now all my requests are going to use this. And let's see if we can list users now. See, we still get unauthorized. And that's probably going to be because our JWT isn't an admin. I'm just going to test this out. So we'll do echo-n base64-d. And then the role instantian. I will guess there's probably an administrator role as well. Here's my wallet ID. But let's go ahead and take a look at the source code of the application. So I'm going to go in sources, and it's probably going to be com. There we go, Instant Labs. These are all just like dependencies of what it uses, right? I want to get into the custom source code and see exactly how this works. So if we go to admin activities, we can see, if we close all these, we have test admin authentication. It's going to build a My Wallet V1 instant HTTP request and then adds the header authorization and puts a JWT in. So let's go ahead and take a look at what this JWT is real quick. So same thing, echo-n base64-d, and we see the role is admin. Now, the other thing I see is there's no IAT, like expiration. Oh, no, there is expiration right here. That is very far in the future. Holy cow. Hold on one second. I just want to see what year that is. The easiest way, let's just go to jwt.io, paste the token in, and let's see, expiration. If we hover over this, we can see it expires in the year 3023. So almost 1,000 years into the future. Wow, that is, I didn't even know you could go that far with these. So let's go ahead and authenticate with this. So what I'm going to do, click authorize, log out, paste in the new JWT, authorize, and now let's try this list user endpoint, and we can see we can list users. So we have 3. The first one is admin, then we have Shirohij, and then me. So let's look at what other things we have. We could add new admins, but we have this read log function. So let's look at exactly how this goes. So we can do try it out, and the file name is going to probably be 1.log. Let's get something valid just so we can make sure this works. And we have it. And let's move this over to Burp Suite because the repeater window is just more natural to me. So we can execute this, send it over to repeater, run, and there we go. We can see what it looks like. And because we logged in on Swagger, we have the token already inputted for us. So let's now look for LFI. Or this isn't going to be LFI because it's probably Python. It's just going to be a file disclosure. So I'm just going to do a bunch of / slashes and see if we grab etc past WD, and we can. Now, the odd thing is we're working out of home this user logs. So I want to see if there is a .ssh directory. Internal server error. Let's do authorized keys. And we do have an authorized key. So let's try ID_RSA. And we can. So I'm going to save this to a text file. So let's do cd.v. It's probably going to be this user, right? Shirohij. Shiro, H-I-G-E. That is it. .pem. Paste this. And hold on, did I copy everything? I'm going to copy this whole JSON real quick. Because if I don't, then I probably have to like manually format this key, and I don't want to do that. So let's pipe it over to JQ. And then it's going to be really weird how we read this because it actually has slashes in it. To do this, I think we do dot and then escape a quote. Like this. I really hope this is right. Like that. There we go. I can do, I thought I could do -R. There we go. So that got me into this key. And then this is just going to be a list. So that's why I did the open and close bracket. And now I can do a grep on period to grab every line that has data. I'm just going to copy to temp and then move temp over top of this. Because, whoops, like that. There we go. Because if I just wrote it to this file, because this cat opened it and I try to write it, it would just be an empty file. It's really weird. But you only make that mistake once, right? So if we did cp this to temp, we cat temp and then direct it over to temp, now temp is blank. So that's why I did it that weird way. But let's chmod 600 because this is an SSH key and it really cares about permissions. And we can do sh-i shirohij at 10.10.11.37. And we also have to specify the key. Yes. And we get logged in. Now, the first thing I always do whenever I pop a web server is try to go and dump all the database credentials. So in this, we do have the projects directory, and this is going to be where the actual source code is. And we kind of knew that just based upon how the Swagger worked, right? Because this was going in home, the username and that. But let's just pretend we don't know exactly where the web server is. So my first bet is always look at vir www. And if we do that, we just have HTML. This is going to be the default page. And we have downloads there where instant.apk is. So there is actually no like Flask web server or anything like that. We could also like look in opt. And if we go there, we have backups. So we go opt backups. This is Solar-Putty. And we'll get into this in just a little bit. You could pop the box just from discovering this directory. But let's just keep going because once I have a path, I don't like deviating it from it that much. Because if I went down that Solar-Putty route, I'll probably completely forget I never looked at the database. So I always like looking at databases first. So the next thing is go to etc apache 2. And then let's go to sites enabled. and we can take a look at exactly how this is configured. So let's do a grep-v for the comment, and we can see exactly how this works. So this is just directing us to var www HTML. That's not that important. Let's look at instant app. And let's see, this is on my wallet v1 instant HTTP and is directing us to port quad 8s. Let's take a look at the Swagger interface and kind of the same thing. We're going to 8808. So let's do SSLNTP and we're going to grep for everything with 88 in it. And we can see two PIDs, both Python, 1388 and 1331. So let's do psef grep for 1338. And we can see that is going into home, Shiro Hij, projects, my wallet. And if we look for PID, what's the other one? 1331. We see it's going into the same place. So let's go into this directory now. And then let's go into, well, I guess we can look at my environment, see exactly what this is. This is a Python environment. Cat the VM, nothing special there. Let's go into instant API. Is that where both of them were? Those are just environments. Okay. And we have instance and my wallet. So let's look at my wallet. And there is a serve.py. Is this going to just be Flask? Let's take a look real quick. There is no V, no let. Oh, wow. No less either. Cat. I'm just curious what the web server's coded in. Is there a head? There is, and it is going to be Flask. So I'm just going to grep for everything that ends in DB. There is a instant.db, so this is going to be SQLite. You could have also done a SS and noticed 3306 doesn't exist, so most likely it's going to be a SQLite database. So let's go ahead and download this. So I'm going to cat this. We'll pipe it over to dev TCP 10.10.14.8 port 9001. And then I'm going to listen on 9001 and direct it to instant.db. Send that. And then let's just do SQLite 3 instant.dump and see if we have any hashes anywhere. There we go. We have PBKF DF2 SHA-256, and we have a hash. So it's in wallet users. So let's do a .schema. And we just want to get what username and password. So we'll do select username, password from wallet users. And we can save all of these. V, we'll say hashes.txt, I guess. Paste that. Okay. And let's see. We could look at exactly how these are made. So let's see. If we go into, was it my wallet? Serve.py. Oh, man, not having... I should just copy all these files back to me. Register. So how is it making the password? Filter, JSONify, method PBKDF2. So generate password hash. This is a Werkzeug function, if memory serves. If we looked at head, let's just grep this on serve. Yep, Werkzeug security generate password hash. So if we try to crack this with Hashcat, we'll find there is no Werkzeug mode. If we Google Hashcat crack Werkzeug, we'll get to a posting. I got to turn burp suite intercept off. There we go. And we get a feature request here. So they're trying to crack a hash that is generated with Werkzeug, and they put a feature request in for it. The maintainer of Hashcat says the mode already exists, but it's just like formatted slightly differently. And if we keep scrolling, we find someone gives a program. So let's copy this. and we're going to tweak it slightly to work better for us. So let's do v. I'm going to call this Werkzeug to Hashcat, I guess. I think that's the standard format. And I probably should like use sys argv and stuff, but I'm not. I'm going to be lazy. We're just going to cat hashes.text. We're going to copy these. And then I'm going to say hashes is equal to, paste all of them. And we'll put this like that. Okay. I'm going to leave the usernames. And we will just split. So we can say for I in hashes. And then we want to indent all these. And let's see. We'll do hash, or we'll do pw hash is equal to username pw hash. Then I.split on the pipe. That should be fine. This gets renamed to pw hash because it's searching for that string. And then it's just going to put it in this format, and that looks fine. The last thing we want is username : Python 3 Werkzeug. Can't use byte pattern on a string light object. What if I do .encode? Maybe that works. There we go. So now we have a format here. So I'm going to go over into the Kraken, which is just another box on my network. You can run Hashcat anywhere you want. I'd recommend not running in a VM. I'm going to do v hashes slash, we'll call it instant dot, I guess we'll do Werkzeug. Paste all this. And then /hashcat .bin, the file name, opt wordlist rocku. And let's see if it detects anything. We also forgot to specify the user flag because we have username : the password hash. So hopefully with that, it's just Kraken, and it is. Awesome. So I'm going to just rename this to the Kraken. And hopefully it cracks relatively quickly, but let's just keep going on because you don't actually need to crack that password hash. It's actually longer to crack that hash than just to crack the backup file. So if we looked at Solar-Putty, we got this sessions backup.dat. So if we cat the file, it looks like base 64. So we try to decode it. And we see a bunch of gibberish. So normally I do like xxd. We still get nothing. We could maybe like, do we have the entropy command? We don't. Maybe it's just ent. Don't have that. So let's just get this sessions back up over to me. So we'll do dev tcp 10.10.14.8. And then let's say nclvnp sessions.dat 9001, like that. Send this file with specified port. So we cat this base 64-d. Do we have the entropy command? I don't. That may just be helpful to identify encrypted files. But if we Google Solar-Putty cracker, let's see if we get anything. We could also Google like decryptor and things like that. Solar-Putty Windows. I'm going to add GitHub to this. Python tool to crack is this. And this is probably the first program that comes out. I just don't like using it because, as this one says, it's written in .NET. And it becomes a bit harder to run on Linux, right? So this is why I like this Solar-Putty cracker. So let's just go ahead and clone this. So we can do a git clone Solar-Putty cracker. If we try to run it, we need a library. So let's do Python 3-m virtual environment, create one, and then we will source.vm bin activate. And then we can say Python 3 pip3 install -r requirements.txt, install all the libraries, and then try to run it again. And there we go. So we got to specify the word list. So I'm just going to do user share word list and then rocku.txt and then the sessions file. So I'm just going to give it the sessions.dat and it's going to attempt to crack. And there we go. It says decrypted file is saved in Solar-Putty sessions.txt and the password was Estrella. And if we look at Hashcat, we have it cracking this password, which was Estrella. So just in case, like I think the, if we go back here, this Solar-Putty decrypt, the one written in .NET, I don't think it accepted a word list. So you had to crack the Werkzeug in order to do it or loop it or something like that. If we look at exactly how this decryptor works, let's see, it's just going to be triple des, and it's going to attempt to decrypt it, and then it tries to load it as JSON, because the actual config is JSON. So if it does the triple des or whatever encryption it was and can't convert from JSON to object, then it knows it didn't decrypt it successfully. So then it moves on, right? But if we cat this file, we can see credentials and we have instant root, username root, password of this. So let's do ssh root at instant.htb. And I'm going to put that password in. I always like pasting my clipboard after I put it just to make sure like I pasted what I thought I did. And we get invalid password. If we do su, put in this password, we get root. And why is that? Because it's probably SSH is prohibiting root login, right? So if we cat SSH SSHD config grep-i on root, let's see what we have. Permit root login, prohibit password. So I wonder if that's just the default. It probably needs permit root login yes to allow passwords. We can test that real quick. I want to say it's yes. So let's do v. We don't have v. This is annoying. Echo permit root login yes to etc ssh sshd config service ssh restart. Does that do it? I think it does. I don't have that on my clipboard anymore. Let's put it back on. There we go. Root. Attempt to log in, and that was definitely it. So SSH was configured not to allow root with the password, and that's why we had to use SU, but that is going to be the box. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care, and I will see you all next time.